Welcome back, everybody, to Quake Pro League Week 10 action. We have 2 featured matches remaining. I am 40 Lions, joined by really the only one on the cast who could say they are more hairy than me, because that's his name, Lethal. How are you?
Not too bad. We've got some incredible games coming up next, and the last one should be an absolute slobber knocker, to say the least. But yeah, starting off with base Kilsen, then going to Wenger Avixtra afterwards. Who can complain? Let's be honest.
I mean, featured matches means let's get Wheat back in here. Papa Wheat, it's been a while. We need you.
Yo, what's up? I'll complain. I'm still recovering from that hairy pun a little bit. Gentlemen, hello. A happy Sunday. One of my favorite days of the week. I'm sorry I couldn't be here last week. Was, America celebrating the 4th of July. But, oh my God, 2 incredible featured matches here this week. And frankly, all the matches that you guys have done, and a phenomenal job, gentlemen, have been great all day. So let's top it off. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, man, always a pleasure to have you. So base Kilsen is going to be the first featured match of the day, and just insane, I feel like. Maybe clash of styles, some might say. Lethal, how would you categorize this, if you even can, in terms of these players?
Well, you've already said my answer, so can you skip me?
No, now you have to say it again.
Fine, it's fine. But yeah, pretty much what you said. It's like the styles at opposite end of the spectrum. You got base, counter-reactive, very defensive. Kilsen doesn't want any of that. He wants to force the situation every single time round. And depending on the maps, we'll have to see, because in terms of the map picks and everything like that, both of them are very, very different. I can tell you now that Kilsen's definitely going to ban Vale. So not just because it's one of base's best map, but he's going to ban it 100%. And in terms of what maps we're going to get, that's also going to dictate the style as well, because there's a lot of elements to it here. So we'll see.
I've been pretty impressed with Base in terms of his ability to get out of his defensive shell and kind of mix it up a little bit. We haven't seen a ton of it. I think it depends a lot on what opponent he is up against. But if there was ever an opponent where he needed to exercise that muscle a little bit, it would be Kilsen. I love his style. I think he's going to kind of try to force Base out of that. But as Harry said, right, with map selection and depending on what we got, that could change the entirety of the game plan. So pretty excited to see the picks and bans here.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to the picks and bans. I think both players are pretty good with Nyx, so I'm looking forward to whether they just ban it outright so nobody gets to play her, or somebody's going to be able to pick her, and we can get into it right now. The timing, again, immaculate. Thank you very much, PGL. As we take a look at the pick bans for this one, and it looks like Molten Falls, Deep Embrace, Runes of Sarnath. Lethal, why don't you run us through the champ picks, and then Wheat, why don't you give me some insight on how you feel about everything?
Well, Kilsen banning Vale, shocker of it, but we're not too shocked about it with Molten Falls. Base has actually selected it this time round. And don't get me wrong, like Kilsen's also very good at Molten Falls. So Base may be, feeling himself a little bit, maybe thinking he can perform better in comparison. Does use the Nyx as well against the Anarchy, so that should be an interesting matchup. Deep Embrace, Kilsen's going to definitely go on the aggressive in terms of, you can see he's using the kills, so at least he'll get a little bit more leadway using those pineapples to try and defend himself against his opponent with the heavy setup, etc. But even going to runes as well, so a lot of large maps, and I kind of feel like Base, it really does depend on how he's feeling. I think we're going to see a lot of slow gameplay coming just overall just because of the Molten and the Ruins matchups. But Deep Embrace may be a little bit different, may tell the tale a little bit. We'll have to see here, but we know what Base is like.
Yeah, I mean, Kilsen's pick of Deep Embrace makes me super happy, because that's exactly what I was talking about. You're forcing Base out of his style on a map that traditionally prioritizes combat and control. And, I love Deep Embrace. So I really, really like this one. Agree with you, Lethal, in terms of how Molten and Ruins are likely to be played. Look for Base to try to slow those down a little bit, but I'll be waiting anxiously for game 2, because that one is going to be my favorite for sure.
Taking a quick peek at the predictions, there was a split second where for the first time I saw 50-50, but now it's 54% in favor of Kilsen, but we were close. So I think this one is going to be a close set between these two. I do think it's going to be clash with styles, and similar to what Wheat said, I'm looking forward to Deep Embrace, and if Base can kind of overcome that combat-heavy style that Kilsen's probably going to bring because of the map and the nature of the map. So really looking forward to that, and Deep Embrace kind of lends itself to how Kilsen likes to play. Stay in the middle of the map, rail cutoff. Stay in the middle of the map, rail cutoff, and we've seen Maxter already hit amazing rails off the spawn. Kilsen might be able to do the same. But predictions, Lethal, I know it's your favorite time, but I need to hear it out of you. What do you think?
I think it's going to be Kilsen. I think it'll edge this out, but it's hard to say because you've got Ruins and Molten both there, so I'm not really sure. But at the same time, Kilsen's really good on the spawn on both of these maps, so it can definitely get like some chain frags overall. So we'll see. But I reckon Kilsen may edge this one.
I'd agree with you on that, Lethal. I'll go with. I mean, base is looking good at number 4 spot. I would not be surprised if this was to go either way, 2-1. But I'm gonna give Kilsen the edge here a little bit, right? A hungry dog who's like, I'm number 7 right now. I'd like to move up a little bit because we're getting pretty close to those stage finals, and maybe that little bit of motivation will kind of turn on k1llsen and Kilsen and every other mode and form and that he has. So I'll say 2-1 Kilsen.
Well, ain't nothing to it but to do it. I'm going to get out of here and leave you boys to cast this one. Have fun, be safe, and looking forward to some good Quake.
We will. Thank you very
sir.
much, 40, as we're going to get into this series between Kilsen and base. And we were talking about the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of the styles of play and all that stuff. And I swear, every time I see these two play, it's always on Molten. If it's map 1 or map 2, these two play Molten every single time.
All the
and
time.
I thought at some point they're going to get bored of it. They're not. They're just going to start on Molten again and again. But do you know what? If they're happy with that, that's fine. I can watch Molten all day and just see if base is going to stay on the middle of the map and just trying to, get those colourful rails like 40 was rightly saying before. But as soon as Kilsen forces star 1 to him, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. But you've got to remember, at the same time, base has very good combat skills overall. I think people underestimate him in that kind of
Oh yeah. And before I elaborate on that, I am going to say, can I get an invite to the game? I would like to watch. Thank you. I don't want to miss this one. I don't want to. I have not gotten an invite yet. No. So yes, I mean, base not only has the map awareness, the control, the ability to slow the game down, but his fundamentals are great, right? He does have a phenomenal aim. He will take risks. He definitely is someone who I think from a wow. This is.
This is interesting. How did you do that?
Oh my gosh, that was well, we truly know now that 40 goes and gets cheesecake when he's gone. So so I completely agree. To go back to what we were talking about, yes, don't underestimate base. And at the same token, that's why this is a great matchup, because everyone is very aware of Kilsen, kind of what he's been through, how he's been performing. There it is. Sweet. We're getting in the game. And I mean, base has gotta bring his best today.
He really does indeed. I was gonna say, I came back and go, you've done a like really interesting disappearing act. How are you like talking and not being at the same time? That was incredible. But yeah, I'm really impressed by that. Nice one, week. That's definitely your man of many talents. Of course, Houdini acts is
also an illusionist. Well. Yes, yeah. In between game 1 and 2, I'm gonna bring an elephant on and make it disappear. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Look forward to that. Anyway, as we get into the first map, shortly, sorry guys, we're starting lobby, jumping ourselves back in, and then we will be starting off with Molten Falls between base and Kilsen. If you're just joining us, we've got 2 matches left to go. We do have this one and the next one, which will be Venga versus Avik straight afterwards. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. So it's gonna get very, very spicy, but this is just a glimmer of what's to come here, because the next one's going to be incredible nonetheless. But continuing going to this one, Vale always banned by Kilsen 24/7, always going to Molten Falls as the first and second map every single time. So I wouldn't have it any other way, because we know that both these players like to be quite calculated, but at the same time Kilsen likes to really force the occasion on a number of occasions as well. So we'll have to see how this is going to go out. I hear the ding. We're going to see them go into the first map of the second to last series of the day between base and Kilsen, starting off on Molten Falls, and we're also going to start off with base's POV.
Yep, and base is going to get a spawn over on the heavy side, immediately grabbing that rail. See if he tries to do any denial on Kilsen's side. Of course, Kilsen spawned over on the... No, won't happen. Kilsen just runs over and grabs it. But base actually deciding to switch spots. That means they will engage right outside of Mega. Ghostwalk is popped, and he's going to now chase down. Saw him go through that teleporter, and kind of an interesting move there just to change position. However, it looks like they're going to swap our major items now.
Yeah, they certainly are indeed. Base with the slightly bigger stack, not until Kilsen just picked around it up. And Base, I can see him as the kind of guy who would excel with Nyx, just choosing these ghost walks wisely to his advantage, either to get away or to get the flank going, or trying to contest one of his items. We'll have to see. Nice sprinkle of damage there from Base. He's directly below him, but at the same time needs to be really careful. He hasn't got the stack to force out this next engagement, so has picked up the light, still has the ghost walk still, but they will find each other. Not available yet, but it doesn't matter, as this looks like Base will be able to pick up this heavy. But this is, yeah, that's exactly what we expected.
Yep. Yeah, I completely agree. You see the amount of respect that these two are showing one another. We're kind of doing a ballroom dance around Molten a little bit with these two players just swapping the major items, but neither really engaging or committing to any engagement. I mean, the one time that they clearly saw one another, they traded rails. So it's starting off a little bit rough, and here we go. Well, Base does spot his opponent. Kilsen does land the rocket, and that means we'll do the dance one more time. Going to swap around. Kilsen drops down to try to get the rail, and it looks like another exchange happening there. He'll grab that heavy. Once again, the dance continues. 2 minutes in, and, well, how much damage? We've had about 500 damage dealt out. So starting off slow, just like we said, but eventually we're going to see an explosion.
Yeah, Kilsen's just hungry to get those chain reaction of frags straight after the first one. Kilsen doesn't really have much choice, does he? Let's be fairness. And with the Anarchy, is Base can hear him from a mile off. So 2.5 minutes left as the inject does come back for Kilsen, so that'll help him in this next bout. He's just weaving and diving and having a look around. Normally, he's right now. Kilsen is taking the right paths. Normally, Base does hang around the middle ground and does wait for those cut-off rails, but Base isn't doing it this time around. He's actually changing things a little bit more going forward. Does hear him go for the telly, gets the first rail, and let's be honest, it's frustrating. It really is. The fact that your opponent is very heavily relying on his audio cues, it's tough to come back against.
Yeah, and I really like Base kind of switching it up and taking that top position. Able to do some damage. There's the Ghost Walk going to pop out, and that's defensive all the way. Knew that he was caught kind of with his pants down there. So very, very wise disengage happening. And it is going to mean that, you know, this low armored Base is probably going to want to continue to stack up a little bit. But again, I like this going to the middle, trying to dish out some damage, maybe stealing away that heavy as well. And Kilsen's ready for it every time. I like the fact that Base is mixing up and going for it.
Oh, Kilsen does come in. Is this going to be the initial engagement to take? Kilsen's not too sure, but he dives down anyway. Good rockets. He missed the last one. He's looking for the mid-air. He doesn't clean him up. And Kilsen, it took a while. Patience was a virtue, and needed a lot of discipline there, but that was great stuff there from Kilsen. But Kilsen could get the second frag. Not going to happen, though, as Base gets away with the Ghost Walk. Does take the route around the rail to get those hourglasses for the next Ghost Walk. And you can hear the jump pads as Kilsen still knows he's there, has the info he requires in order to keep up with this engagement. But this is the other thing as well. Kilsen was hanging around that rail to heavy kind of area. And you've got to remember, the majority of the hourglasses are also around there, which means that it makes things even tougher for Base to try and push in or use that Ghost Walk. But the LGs will come out, Base will get taken down, and Kilsen is loving life right now and gets that second frag.
I mean, such an immaculate play there by Kilsen, popping that inject as he comes around the corner, caught his opponent with that LG, and now he's got a nice level of control. He can kind of move it around, and this is the opposite of where Base wants to be. So playing a little bit of, Kilsen's playing a little bit of Base's own game here in the way that he's kind of going at it. And I really feel bad for Base. Like that little rocket exchange that he had on that first frag, that did not go in Base's favor. You mentioned he missed that last rocket, and that could have completely changed the course of that game. So Ghost Walk is popped. Kilsen's going to say, okay, cool, I'm out of here. It looked like Base was going to chase a little bit, but Kilsen grabbed that mega, and with 2 frag lead halfway through this game, he's sitting in a good spot.
Oh, it's so difficult as well with the inject and the mobility. You feel like Base now has to use a really early Ghost Walk in order to catch him. which you can do at some point, but it needs to do a hell of an amount of damage first as the inject comes out for Kilsen. Will be dropping down onto him, but the Ghost Walk will come out for Base. 56 HP as Base does manage to pick up the heavy. Kilsen gets the Mega, and already Base is on his tail here. Kilsen just trying to be really cautious about his surroundings to see if Base was going to continue on pushing, but Base does miss the first one, hits the second one though. And Kilsen just knows exactly what he needs to do. Just keep his distance, just keep the range as well. And if he does get a bit of chip damage, just use that mobility and do your best to get away.
Yeah. I mean, I thought he was going to take a rail going up that jump pad the second time, but he managed to get away. And Kilsen with some good control here as he continues to lock down the Mega. And always kind of, as you mentioned, knows exactly where Base is. Now, he's looking to potentially double up on both of these major items now after grabbing that Mega, and we're going to have heavy in about 10 seconds. But Kilsen actually moves away from it to take away that light. He checks and sees the other light is up. And now what is he going to do? Makes his way. I think he's going to be able to... No, he's not. Never mind. Never mind, Lethal. Grab the Mega. I thought there was a little more time there on the heavy, but slowing it down. Kilsen, I love the fact that he is still playing his game, Harry, but he's also kind of playing Base's game.
Yeah, just, you know what? He's thinking, well, do you know what? I'll play your style and I'll make you see how it feels pretty much. He's messed up the heavy timings for Kilsen. I'm not too sure if Kilsen actually knows. This is a little bit out of range. I think he might have heard it just then. We'll have to see as he does take that first rail. And this is what I meant by the Ghost Walk, just using it early to put some pressure on, but that was way too obvious. Kilsen knew he's going to come straight in. The rockets come out to play from both sides. Kilsen comes out on top, but the problem is that Ghost Walk was just way too predictable. He knew that it was just going to come straight at him. It's just a matter of time. And Kilsen now just going to keep him at bay with that tri-bolt. Knows he's gone up top. Has the inject shortly in the next 10 seconds. With a couple of minutes left, I don't think Base can do this.
Yeah, I mean, that was going to be a head shaker for Base, that frag right there. I mean, imagine if that would have played out a little bit differently and it was 1-2. I think there'd be more of a chance here for Base. But he's going to be playing from the back with Kilsen and a little bit of speed, right? At this point, the Ghost Walk isn't going to help him in the next 2 minutes to secure that frag. I can't really see a situation where some sort of offensive Ghost Walk is going to surprise Kilsen, because he's just been so in tune and attentive to what is going on here in the arena. With 90 seconds left to go, Kilsen's like, cool, guess what? I learned this from you. And he's just going to play the slow turtley game, looking for an opportunity to trap his opponent there. The rocket comes out, does a little bit of damage, does get tagged with the rail on the way back, but again, use that speed to get out of there, re-ups his health a little bit. He's got to be a little careful. There's that offensive Ghost Walk, but it doesn't really do much other than rocket. There's a rail from the back, but again, with 1 minute left to go, 3 frags is a tall order.
It really is. This is just not going to happen. He's definitely having a taste of his own medicine. At the same time, though, like, what can he do? Of course, Anarchy's got... It's a very hard hitbox. Mobility and speed. Oh, my God. The tri-bolt damage there. This could be a full frag for Kilsen if he makes this push.
Boom.
And he does. Good prediction there from Kilsen. Let's be real, though. There's nothing Base could have done. He had to make that push. Even if he didn't want to, he was forced into that situation. Waiting for him to drop onto that Mega. He may get the first frag here. Might be too little too late, but the inject comes out. He's basically saying, see you later. And will he be able to survive? Base is waiting for him to go back through the portal, which he does not. And Kilsen gets that 5th frag. So basically, you saw there Kilsen, first couple frags, just playing his game and then switching the styles entirely, knowing that it was heavily going to work in his favor.
Yep, nicely played. And, you know, now in a situation where, yeah, I think Kilsen could very well take the series, you know, given that he's got the momentum going into Deep Embrace now. But 6-0, getting that final frag there at the end, a nice way for Kilsen to open up this series. And, you know, I think is pretty defining, right? I'm not going to let you get a frag. I will play this map in a way that you are often seen playing it. It's a great way to start for Kilsen.
Yeah, he's going to be pretty pleased about that. And I like how he knows where base normally lurks around on the map in terms of Molten Falls, was checking the middle to make sure he's still just not, you know, being really defensive, waiting to get that first rail shot off. But this is the problem with the Nyx versus Anarchy matchup. It's the fact that you give Anarchy a couple frag lead, that's going to be it. And it's very hard not to be predictable with the aggressive Ghost Walk, because you can see it from time and time again. Kilsen saw it from a mile off. Like, that was a great example there. Just waiting to go for the telly. He was going to do it at some stage, but there were some good rockets, some good rails overall, as Kilsen just doing what he does best. And this is the problem. So against a player like that, it's tough. And you can see it from Base's face as well. It was just going to be a tough ride. He knew that he was going to play defensive. He had to put himself in a disadvantageous position on countless occasions, and that's literally going to be it. But hopefully Base can be able to swing things around a little bit going to the second map.
The crazy thing is that now we're going to see Kilsen completely shift gears, right? Playing Keel versus the Ranger. Sure, Ranger has a little bit mobility, can do some kind of cute things and kind of gain position with what he's got, but I kind of feel like Kilsen's going to come out and be like, I am big boy Keel, let's go, right? And this is a heavyweight versus a lightweight matchup. So I don't know, could be wrong. Maybe just rockets to be used for kind of zoning, but I almost suspect we'll see Kilsen turn up the aggression on this one.
Do you know what? I couldn't agree more. If he doesn't, then I don't know who's playing for Kilsen. I have literally no idea. But yeah, you've got to talk about the kill a lot more in terms of being top mid with the pineapples. You can get a huge amount of control there, especially on the spawn. The prioritization being that you can prep for heavy a lot earlier than anyone else with those pineapples is a real nuisance to deal with. And some players will either try and just chip away at you whilst you're trying to go for the heavy, or maybe just leave it entirely, just have a gentleman's agreement and just go for each other's items. It's really tough against the kill. It really is. There's a lot of choke points there on Deep Embrace, but you're absolutely spot on though. He is definitely going to turn up the heat, put on full aggro. But we said it before, Base's combat skills are still very good, just on par, but not as aggressive as we normally see. So I'm a little bit worried for Base. I'm not going to lie to you after that first matchup as well.
Yeah. I agree. Leaving that map too without a frag is like a little rough too. So we'll have to see. But certainly I think this kind of favors this second map being, in Kilsen's favor. Obviously his map pick, so that's where he wants to be as well. But we'll have to see. Can Base kind of turn it on himself after the performance that we saw in game one? Not certainly how he wanted to start this off. And if he wants to stay alive in the series, he must win this one, Harry. So let's see the action as Base versus Kilsen continues.
Yeah, let's see what's going on. We're going to start from Base's POV. We know we didn't have the best of starts in that first map, but never know. We'll have to see. Going to the second one. He's only got the LG. Perhaps I'll give him a helping hand. We'll find Base there. Just tickles him with that long-range shotgun. Just trying to prioritize that heavy if he does push towards it. But this is what I was talking about. Just going for that heavy early to prep for it with that kill. But he's actually turned his back. He's trying to see where Base is lurking. Once again, having to play to Base's style, which is really frustrating. But you saw there, Kilsen did get that first rail. Just barely misses the second. But see now, Base does pick up the Mega. Good rail again from Kilsen, as I don't think Base expected that. I think he just made the assumption he's just going to go straight for that heavy, but he doesn't. But you can see the item segregation, about 5 or 6 seconds. So both players should be able to get to each other's items in time, depending on who goes for that Mega first.
Yeah, I mean, watching Base, he is trying to play so slow, and this might work kind of initially, but what my concern is off the frag, right? Can you keep this pace for 9 more minutes as we're going to have a fight here at the heavy? Grenades coming out, 1, 2, 3, orb into a rail. Oh my God, and that's what I'm talking about right there. Like, you just can't play Deep Embrace that slow. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
What I can't believe is those 3 back-to-back rails to the tri-bolt. K1llsen has arrived on the server, just making life a misery for Base. It's been 12 minutes total in this series. Base still looking for that first frag, and I think you're right though. It can, it can ruin your confidence a little bit. The rail again gone. Just do a second one, almost, as he does try to challenge once again. Doesn't hit the pineapple, but the damage has already been done. This Base has no armor, and k1llsen's pretty much laughing in terms of stack, just holding that top mid advantage. I just love how he's not playing this defensive style because he has to. He's playing his style because he wants to, and it's just working massively here as he just needs to try and stay alive. He's railable, but managed to hit Base beautifully there, just a little bit. Just using that starting shotgun, does clean him up on 7 HP, picks up the heavy, but still needs to recuperate from that last engagement.
Yeah, k1llsen running for his life right now. Still, there he grabs the health that he needed, but that was, we saw some nice burst damage coming out there from Base, but k1llsen, again, Big Boy Keel kind of just laughed in his face as that happened. So, Base still trying to bring this back. k1llsen with the commanding lead. Base get hits with another rail, just needs a tickle, and there it is, 4-0, a quarter of the way through this matchup. And Heavy is up again, but instead of Heavy, decides he wants the frag. Very, very low. Base hurting. We got an orb up to the top, and that is not going to help out. Also means that he's going to be able to grab that Heavy, and we see the Mega at the exact same time. So split major items, but k1llsen with the 5 frag lead. Expect to see him continue to control that top area, waiting for his opponent to come out. Rockets and grenades meet him at the exit. k1llsen now in a rough spot, but unfortunately, I do not think that Base is going to get this one. There he is. Okay. He hunts him down and grabs his first frag.
Yeah, it took a bit of time, didn't it? Literally, Base over the last game and a half has just been getting deleted left, right, and centre. Good first rail, good second rail from Base. He's starting to step things up a little bit, trying to dictate the pace of this game, trying to turn up the tempo. We're just nearly 4 minutes in. Is k1llsen just chilling behind that pillar? Just waiting behind top mid. Has an inkling he could be there. Good direct, good damage straight afterwards. A nice 66 to finish things up. As Base now does find k1llsen on the spawn, and it's Base on the aggression, which is not something you normally see. k1llsen just playing his game. It's like both players are just playing on each other's tags. It's just absolute madness. As k1llsen does try to hit that first rail. It was unlucky of him not being able to hit that. Mega is still up. Heavy's just spawned, and both of them are looking to go for it. Good orb, good rail, good damage there, and Base is on the hunt as k1llsen gets the rail back, retaliates with an even better rail there. And already Base is starting to claw back here.
Yeah, we're trying anyway. Just decides, all right, if I'm going to win a battle, I'm going to need to take 3 rails. So here we go. k1llsen very, very low again, and Base is on the hunt. Not looking so healthy himself, but is going to get back up there. We've got the Heavy coming up here in just a few moments, and that is going to be a critical pickup. And it's unfortunately for Base going to go to k1llsen. k1llsen still needing some health. So the rail, and Base lands it, needs one more. And is he going to be able to find it? He backs off and takes that as a small victory, but he has turned this into nice rails. He pops up in a second one for his frag. And, look at the difference between Base playing now aggressive versus that opening couple minutes. That, k1llsen, that's exactly how he was hoping he would play. The fact that Base has kind of turned up the heat a little bit, this is a much better k1llsen or Base. Now Base using that orb to escape out of there. Get the grenades coming out, knows that Mega is going to be up soon, would love to grab it for himself, but instead will hit 1, 2 rails. Is there a third? There is, and then killing it up. Oh, the shotgun comes out, but it doesn't do enough for lethal damage, and both players will go away and fight again another day.
I had to check on a couple of occasions to look at the bottom left to make sure I'm watching Base's POV and not k1llsen, because the way he's been playing has been so good, but the starting shotgun is going to be enough for k1llsen here. 4 minutes left remaining. Base has done just an incredible job bringing us back. A very aggressive manner. As both players just waiting for each other to go for that Megas. k1llsen was just baiting it to see if he can at least get the rail off before he picks it up. But the Mega is still up here. He's trying to back away with that pineapple using the rocket as well. Does 40-60. Oh, good fakery there from Base, and good way to kind of respond to the position that k1llsen was in, just trying to peek out constantly with that rocket. It's so frustrating here as Base knows he's directly underneath him, picks up Heavy, but surely k1llsen is going to be extremely tough for him, almost gets the rail through the stairs. Still got plenty of time though. Base just trying to do his absolute best to try and inflict additional damage onto Kilsen, but Kilsen able to get away with the tail between his legs here. Still 3 minutes left, plenty of time to work with, like I said before, and base looking much better compared to what we saw at the beginning of this matchup.
Yeah, we're going to have the Mega up, and the Heavy's going to start spawning here any moment as well. And looks like base is actually going to grab. Oh my God. What a sick orb to pick up the Mega and then immediately be able to grab that Heavy as well. Trying to take back all the control here on the chase now. Can't get the rail through the murder hole. Still looking for the cleanup here as Kilsen is being elusive. And he stops around the corner. Both players have dished out a fair amount of damage considering the fact that base picked up both the power-ups. And will he have another opportunity? Rail is hit. Will he chase? It looks like he's going to try. Hits him from up top or tries to. It's not going to happen. But now the power-ups are back in it. Misses that rail. Kilsen going for the Mega. He will grab it. LG up the pad. Base is going to still continue to chase. Misses that rail as well. Going to try to get the Heavy. Hits the rail. Oh my God. And the orb to tie it up and grab that Heavy. That was sick.
3 for 3. He's got 4 for 4 straight afterwards, Oh, base is just... How many has he hit in a row? That's at least 5 or 6 now, just minimum. It's just... He went from not being able to hit a barn door to hit everything, no matter how microscopic the target was. That was just ridiculous. Kilsen, though, does have to stack, but what's he going to be able to do here? Not much. Base does pick up the Heavy. I can't believe what we're watching here. From what we saw right at the very beginning to now, it's just... Both players just decided to trade styles. It's working more in his favor. Base just gone from hitting barely anything to absolutely everything. In terms of percentages, 56% for Kilsen, 51% for Base.
My God! That's
and the
like the
spawn
worst.
rail as well. He's going to hit it again. He might even go for the third, depending on where Kilsen's going to go. He's just waiting for him to try and peek out, but instead he's going to rocket jump top mid. He's going to go for the Heavy. Does manage to get it, and God, this is just mental.
Are you kidding me? All right, whatever coffee that Base drank this morning or whatever, it kicked in like 2 minutes into this matchup. It was like, oh man, I'm really not feeling it. And then all of a sudden, the aggression gets turned on. The railgun aim warms up. The orbs have been immaculate, and this tied game just a few minutes ago has now turned into a 10-5 lead for Base, and this is not what I expected to have happen here on Deep Embrace. And you know, earlier when we were all three chatting, I mentioned the fact that Base has kind of just been mixing it up a little bit, and he's had these moments like this game right here, Lethal, that have just, you know, kind of made us go, wow, this isn't the Base that we normally see, and he is going to clinch a victory away here on Deep Embrace. The channel points are going to be wild on this one. There's another one to clean it up at the end, and Lethal, 11-6 in favor of Base. Unreal.
Mate, he was what? 4-5-0 down. I was thinking to myself, he can't not get another frag in this second match, especially on Deep Embrace. I was kind of thinking, this is going to escalate. It's already escalated. That's going to be it. And like I said before, Base went from not being able to hit anything in the slightest to hitting any target he felt like. It was just, I need to count how many rails he hit around the halfway mark. I swear he must have hit like 7, 8, or 9 in a row. I don't know exactly because I was still flabbergasted with what we were seeing. And Base is going to be thinking, okay, it's, you know, I'm going to be feeling pretty good right now. We did say, and we said it before, his combat skills are just as good, if not better than, you know, a lot of the players here, and especially in this region. He just doesn't really show it because of the style he normally plays. But that's why I keep checking in the
13 rails in a row, according to chat.
Really? No,
I mean,
well,
you know, that's...
I don't know. It
might
like
have been.
At one point.
Oh, yeah. I said the exact same thing, Kilsen. That is exactly what I did. Can we talk about the orb play that came out from Base? I mean, not only did we have the control orb, the orb shot from Mega to set him up to be able to grab the Heavy, and that's when he kind of gained that full control and was able to snowball the momentum. But then we saw that one off of the Heavy, and then that one near the end of the game, like just absolutely sick. You could create, you know, I don't know, the top 10 plays of the week. A couple of them might just come from the orb plays that happen here in this matchup.
God, look how calm Base is as well. Well, if it is called into chat 13 in a row, then, you know, can't see why we can't agree with him, because if it was, then I just don't know what to say. It did feel like that. It did feel he hit so many. I pretty much lost count at that point because I was more focused on the damage that Kilsen needs to take in order to try and recover. And at the same time, I was like, there's no way he can hit that many. But it's crazy. Like, think about how demoralized mentally Base must have been, not getting a frag at all in the first map. The second map, the first few minutes, he's thinking, why do I have to bother at this time? It was just ridiculous. And a great Houdini at once again win. I don't know how you do it. That's the second time you've done that so far.
I almost tried to get out of my chair as quickly as possible, so when they switched back, I wasn't there either, but I was too slow. Good, nice work, production. Yeah, there's a lot to like about that match, and when we look at the series as a whole, Lethal, there's even more to like about it. I mean, we all said 2-1 either way. I was kind of thinking that, you know, it was set up to kind of go Kilsen's way, especially, you know, with the Keel, but wow, the orb really equalized things and Base handled it well. So we're moving on to Ruins, where we have Base on the Galena and Kilsen on the Sorlag. And, you know, I don't know, both players recovering after those first two games. This third one, who knows what to expect.
I really don't know. We can say that Base does not want to give the lead to Kilsen by any means for the mobility of the Sorlag, of course, but at the same time, you know, Kilsen's got to keep tabs on these totems. We've seen a lot of people getting away with a lot at the very beginning with the totems at the very beginning. It's very, very difficult to keep tabs on that and map controlling the items. It's a lot to think about overall, but you just got to dip your toes here, there, and everywhere on Ruins. It's kind of those situations really, just to make sure you don't get the overstack, because normally see a few signs of it where maybe if you see him not really too, you know, overzealous in terms of extending for the mega or anything like that, that's a few signs you can normally take into account, but they probably have overstacked, or if they prioritize the heavy more. Very little things here and there, but this series has been incredible so far between both Base and Kilsen. It's been very weird in terms of the styles they're playing. It's like they've traded places pretty much, but we are going to go to the final map between these two Titans and see who's going to close out this series, starting off from Base's POV.
And Base can grab that railgun. He's like, this is the only weapon I need based off the last game, but he will grab the heavy and then start to pick up his arsenal of weapons. Lands another rail. So what is that, 15 in a row? Are we gonna keep track here? See what happens. Huge LG damage coming out through the teleporter. Kilsen goes, and out of the teleport once again. The spit comes down, and I think Base kind of heard it and immediately knew I could go through here and take out my opponent, and first frag goes to Base.
The chain of frags that Kilsen can get on spawn is just ludicrous. He's one of the best players to do it on Ruins, and Base knows that as well. So he's thinking to himself, you know, one frag, two frags isn't going to cut it, but at the same time, the last person you want to be behind against on either Ruins or Molten is going to be Base. He's going to be lurking around the back stairs of heavy. He's going to be on the heavy jump pad waiting to try and be able to pull away. He's going to be, you know, possibly around the courtyard, or, you know, going to be on the back foot in terms of the tri-bolt room. There's little areas here and there he's going to keep himself, or helping to keep Kilsen guessing here. It's going to be really, really tough. So you can see already Kilsen just directly above him. Base realizes that is going to back away for now. And I like what he's done here, just using that totem to leave on the heavy jump pad, just in case Kilsen's waiting for him to approach the heavy. But items are a little bit segregated. A minute and a half has gone, and Base still in the lead ever so slightly.
Ooh, turned his back for a moment. He gets the totem hit, but he does take a lot of damage and is evicted from the heavy armor room. And, you know, gosh, I'm just surprised that Base kind of left himself open. He completely thought there was no way that his opponent was going to come from this perspective, and sure enough, that's exactly what he did. He recovers by picking up the mega, but as you know, you kind of mentioned, you could tell based off of how Base is playing, he wants to prioritize that heavy. He's going to try to do it right here as he fights it out, does manage to get Kilsen out of there, but Base with no armor stack at all will be very happy to pick up that heavy.
Yeah, Base is going to continue with this routine. It's just a matter of how Kilsen can break it. There's a lot of flank potential as well. You know, with the mobility of the Sorlag, he has a wide variety of strategies he can use. And he knows that Base is always going to be around that heavy jump pad or on the back stairs. You know, they're very common spots to try and hide or defend against. But Base just biding his time, literally just lurking, making sure he can keep tabs on what Kilsen's up to. As Kilsen does have a slight stack just due to him being a heavy champion. But it looks like he's having a little collection of totems here, just just
Yep.
biding his time once again. 3 minutes have passed, but it could go pretty quick here. It really, really can. You may feel like, yeah, fair enough, got 7 minutes left on the clock, but the time can tick. It will find these totems. Does find one, and still got another one left standing. So still looking for that overstack. It's been a while yet. Does get railed on the get-go. Does retaliate with one of his own, but Kilsen's on the aggressive here. Really wants to try and make this work, but can't because Base's rails are just that little bit better.
Oh man, I just really like how Base is playing right now. I mean, it's a little while just to see him just chilling down in the heavy armor room, but you can kind of see what he's trying to do. He's trying to be that Pac-Man on the map and take both of these major items and then go in for it. So far, he's gotten really, really close, and he'll continue to kind of camp down here. He's got a tent and a nice campfire, and there's some wildlife there to keep him company. And grabs that heavy, but there's so much time between these two. He's absolutely going to go up here to Mega, and Kilsen is ready for it. How's he going to decide to attack this? Maybe this isn't the round, so he'll go back down, drop a totem, and continue this little camping trip here.
Yeah, it certainly is indeed. It's getting a few more marshmallows to get that third totem up, and
yeah,
it's like he's planning it all out nicely. He's just decorating the heavy room, which is it's nice to see a little bit more decor here and there, which is not something you normally see. I was just about to say at the same time, from a strategical matter, you could say, every time he drops down, Base is always going to have first shot. This is a great example. He's got the third totem up, so he can overstack. Perfect timing. But this is what I mean. Base is just going back, collecting a few hourglasses, dropping down, keeping Kilsen at bay, gets the second frag now. It's taken a lot of time, but there's a lot of frustration coming from Kilsen, surely. And he needs to stay below. I know it sounds silly. I know he's picked up the Mega, but Base, if he wants to keep these totems up, needs to make sure to stay around this heavy. He finds the totems, but realizes that he can't do anything about it as Base securing another frag. And he's got so many totems. He's got the overstack. He's got the heavy. This is just really well planned out here, and it's like I said before, when he's hanging around that heavy area, he's going to get the first shot. He's got so many totems there, he can just recover during the process of his mid-engagements. But
wow!
I was going to say, Kilsen managed to take him down, but the trade comes out, still has the overstack, and has plenty of stack to now get this Mega. Heavy's come up in the next 7 seconds. This could be his time to push in, but does he want to, though?
At this point, I think Kilsen knows, all right, I've got to not let Base hang out in the basement. However, he's also got to be thinking about the fact that we're halfway through this map. Base is up 3-0, he's playing Galena, and there's absolutely the chance that he will go into super turtle mode. Now, Kilsen keeps hitting these rails like this, and it's going to be a non-issue. But Base is answering right back. Finally, Kilsen warming up and getting that rail, putting his first frag on the board. He desperately needed it, Ari. I think that Base may have given up his control during a time in which he didn't need to. And maybe one of the reasons why Base plays the way he does. Because, see, that's what happens when I try to mix it up a little bit, get aggressive. I lose the frag, I lose control. Base had some gnarly control going on, and that's been wiped away. He's got to kind of start all back over, but I'll be curious to see how the second half of this game plays out.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Of course, Base wasn't going to get away with that little setup for the entire majority of this game. But Base, so long as he hits these rails when Kilsen makes the push with the big stack, he'll be okay. But it's actually Kilsen hitting the rails. So if he was going to rocket jump, but realised that Base still standing his ground with the LG, but he could get the second frag. He's done a little bit more damage to both of them. They're very similar stacks, but Kilsen sticking with the rockets. Great combo there from Kilsen. Manages to almost tie things up. He's still got a few minutes left. Picks up the Mega, and now just going to try and recover until that next fight.
I mean, can we agree that Kilsen has balls of titanium? Because that was, the fact that he looked over and the rate at which Base is hitting rails, he was confident enough that he was going to be able to land that and avoid the one that Base is going to throw out. And he did it. 3-2 now. Kilsen 1 frag behind, and this absolutely looks like a game that he can win. Base cannot get comfortable. He's got to stay on his feet. There's a lot of time until our next set of power-ups or next set of major items, and look at what we've got here. LG out as Kilsen drops down below. Base looking pretty good. Going to avoid the damage of the acid, and now he's ticking away. No! Kilsen doing the dance around the middle column and gets the frag, tying it up 3-3. That was so close. It could have gone either way.
It certainly could have done. I thought Kilsen was going to lose that fight after those first 3 rockets. Didn't really get any damage done, and then manages to completely change things. Base becoming a little bit more predictable now. Kilsen knows he can pin him in this courtyard. That's going to be it. If Base doesn't get out of there now, he's going to have absolutely no chance. Oh, he's going to be able to stay alive. Not for long, though, as Kilsen just finishes him up nicely once again with the shotgun. Kilsen has the lead, has the heavy as well. A massive stack to either continue piling on the pressure or just maybe just try and keep Base back. But we know what Kilsen like. You know, Kilsen wants to try and extend his lead if he can, just to secure this series win. And I must say, you know, from what we saw from Kilsen at the start of this map, where Base, like you said, had his own little camping trip in the heavy area, to now Kilsen completely ruining that. He's still got 1:20 left to try and survive, but with the mobility of the Solak, it's going to be tough. It certainly is.
It is going to be tough. Oh, direct rocket to open up this battle down below. The heavy is going to be up. More rockets coming out. Bounce, bounce. But Kilsen gets the rail amidst all of that damage being dropped down. He runs away with just above 25, 50 health. And now Base, he's frantically looking for that frag. Lands a rail, still not enough. Knows there's just one little bit left, and he does manage to grab it. He's got 50 seconds left to try to get one frag to take this to sudden death. And this is going to be a tough one. Can Base do it? Immediately goes up the hallway, sees his opponent, exchanges rocket, takes the bad end of that deal, grabs the heavy, and is it enough? That rocket exchange right there might have opened up the avenue for Kilsen to grab this one, no problem. But Base is still going to hunt down. Through the teleporter they go. Then he's going Kilsen with the run. He's a track star right now. Up the jump pad, missed rail. Spit comes out, rail hits, and I think Kilsen's got it.
I think he might do. Depends if he hits his next rail. Oh yeah, Kilsen does pick up the mega, but we'll see how these rockets go. He's got the overstack. He could, I was going to say, he could push in there and try and make something happen, but it was railable, which was a bit of a shame. Kilsen takes him down 6-4, and I think Base is going to be, well, Kilsen is going to be really relieved after that. Considering the circumstance that Base put himself in, having that little setup in heavy, we were really worried. Like, he was always getting first shot, had all those totems to recover from if he did put himself in a bad position. But yeah, Kilsen winning that, you know, well deserved, to say the least.
Absolutely. I mean, we'll talk more. Let's bring 40 back in to get his thoughts on the entirety of the match. So 40, welcome back.
Did you guys like the chair? That was a hell of a series. That was a hell of a series. Yeah, map number 2, Base hitting like 15 in a row. What the hell was that? Can someone check him PC, please? Because that was absolutely stifling. But Kilsen able to keep his head in the game and come back on Ruins. Incredible play from the 2-time champ.
Yeah, you know, that game 3 is a game that I'd go back and watch again. Really interesting to see how much control Base had, what he was doing to keep that control, and then that moment. And this is something that if we get a chance to talk to Kilsen, I would love to, you know, ask him about, right? Like, what do you do in that situation when someone has that complete lockdown? But I feel like Base is the one who forced an error. And then Kilsen was able to capitalize it and ultimately, you know, take the game. But such an interesting game 3 between those two.
Yeah, so close.
So I was just going to say, I just don't understand. It was just ridiculous how Base was able to get set up. But a few cheeky plays there from Base. You could see that just constantly going up for those hourglasses on the courtyard, going back down again, just making sure that he can be as not as quick but as passive as possible, just to do anything to get that first shot on Kilsen and have it a perfect setup. But it was looking good at one point, but you saw, I think Wheat mentioned it as well, he changed his style a little bit and probably wished he didn't and just stuck to his guns. But it's like I said, I don't think you can keep the same level of play, like that same setup in the heavy rim the entire time. There's no way you can do that. Kilsen would have figured him out momentarily.
Yeah, not flashy by any means, but it was working. But as you said, it's really hard to maintain that kind of fortress down by the heavy for 10 minutes. And yeah, just a really close set. That's been the theme of the day, it feels like, gentlemen, as these are nail-biting series that we've been watching. And I think we are going to be able to shortly, in a few moments, get a word with Kilsen here. So we're taking a look at the highlights, and just a really well-played set from both players. Shouts to Kilsen for taking the series. Incredible play.
It was good. I mean, to kick us off. I mean, we had such a great first featured match. We've got another one coming up. I'm definitely curious to talk to Kilsen. That does bode well on his overall record. 4-1 going into this one, number 7 spot. He's now tied with base 4-2. A little bit better map record than his opponent. But great way to kind of another big victory going into these final weeks as we prepare for the Stage 3 finals. So exciting.
Yeah, it certainly was indeed. I'm interested to see what Kilsen thinks, actually, especially that last map, because there's probably a lot going through his mind, probably a lot of frustration, but especially the second map as well, with base just hitting everything. It was just remarkable.
Well, Lethal, let's bring Kilsen in. Just, why don't we have a little chat with Kilsen? Kilsen, congratulations, welcome.
Congrats, man.
Hey, thank you very much. Hard work, especially on the last map.
Lethal, you want to
can
start
I just kick off?
Oh,
I've got
okay.
I've got a question about that map 3, right? We saw base play very, very base-like in that opening 5 minutes. And really what it looked like from our perspective is just hanging out in that heavy room, trying to lock it down, and then trying to figure out a way he can potentially get both of those major items. So it also felt like that base kind of gave you the control back in a way in exchange that you nicely won. But what is going through your mind when a player has that level of, lockdown, kind of where they're at and what they're doing? What do you try to do? And then what do you think the turning point of that game was for you, Kilsen?
I think actually my third death it was when everything changed, because I've been able to do tons of damage that moment. And because he was weak after that fight, especially, I've been able to clear the totems, and kind of heavy area was clear for me to go for. And yeah, it's kind of how you have to play this kind of style. If someone backs up like fully in the heavy room with a Galena totem in every single corner there, I really had to think about how to approach that area when he was still defending that. And he had all the weapons to his name really quick, and just went down and put up his totems, and that was kind of his main plan. But he didn't have a plan B, it seems like. And yeah, that's why in the end I managed
but you
to
did,
overcome
obviously.
him.
Yeah, great job.
Yeah, I was just going to say something a little bit similar as well to that map. Was you grateful that as soon as base changed his style, was playing a lot more aggressively rather than just hanging out most of the time on the heavy area and picking up the hourglasses every time in the courtyard just to make sure he can collect those totems for whatever collection he wants? Was you really grateful that when he started playing a lot more aggressive to try and catch you off guard, that he was able to, leave you room to try and make your way back into the map?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, base kind of felt that at the turning point where he led 3-2, it doesn't work anymore at this moment, because I killed his totems, so he had to completely new setup there. But I've also been able to push him into heavy area. Like one totem is not a big deal. 2 totems, it gets really difficult at that point. But I didn't let him to set up like that again, and because of that. It worked with picking Sorlek, and run the map then really quick to be just quicker than he is on certain positions.
So congratulations again, Kilsen. Getting closer and closer to Stage 3 finals, I always like to ask players, is there anything you're going to switch up in terms of play time, how much you play, who you play, stuff like that as we get closer and closer to playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, closely, I'm already playing more and more, like, automatically, because we also have this kind of thinking in our mind, and it's not a lot of time left until finals are happening, and I don't want to fail like I did last time. And yeah,
I don't think you failed. That's a little rough. I know that you didn't have the performance you wanted. Come on now. Definitely looking forward to how you're playing. And another quick question. I mean, I know we always talk about k1llsen on here. Your rail is absolutely on fire, but what does it feel like to be on the receiving end of it? I know it might be a painful memory, but the last 2-3 minutes of that second map were just incredible. And how do you deal with that pressure whenever you peak just taking rail damage? Is there anything that you could even really do at that point?
I mean, it's also the thing that I kind of allowed him to hit me like that, you know. Like I've been running very open into his face, and that allowed him to put a lot of damage onto me. But also the time has been running, and the score got bigger and bigger, and I just needed a moment where I hit something maybe a little bit lucky, and then the turnaround happens because of respawns and everything. But it didn't work out, and he just ran away with the score in the end.
Well,
But yeah,
in the end, you took the series.
It doesn't feel good, you know. I can tell.
Confirmed. All right, as long as we can confirm that. Well, in the end, you came out the victor. Congratulations, Kilsen. It's always
Congrats.
a pleasure, and
Yeah,
I'm
thank you
sure
very
we'll
much.
see
Yeah,
more
good
of
job, mate.
you.
Bye.
Goodbye. Well, one more featured match on the way, guys. You got the energy? Wheat, you okay out there? You're fresh. Lethal's the one that's dying. I already had a break, so
Only
I
a
have
little
too.
bit.
No,
Only a
that's
little
good.
bit, but I'm all right.
That's good.
All right, well,
I'm
let's take...
excited for the next matchup, though.
Oh, it's going to be a banger. Wenger versus Avec. Let's take a quick break, come back, and get into the action as soon as we can. Don't go anywhere.